My sister slept with my husband. Then Mom dropped a bombshell about my past that changed everything. I am Evelyn, 30 female, and was married to Frank, 32 male, for 5 years. My sister Riley, 28 female, has always been a big part of our lives, or so I thought. We were the picture-perfect family, at least from the outside. Frank and I were high school sweethearts. We met at a football game, cheesy I know, but it was love at first sight for me. He was the quarterback, I was the cheerleader, you get the picture. Riley and I have always been close too, sisters by blood and best friends by choice. We shared everything, secrets, clothes, dreams, or again, so I thought. Things started to feel off about 6 months ago. Frank started working late more often, business trips became more frequent, and he was less interested in spending time with me. I chalked it up to work stress. He is a lawyer and his firm was going through a big merger. I tried to be understanding, supportive wife and all that. But deep down, a little voice kept whispering that something was wrong. I ignored it for a while, denial is a powerful thing. Then came my birthday last month. I turned 30, a big milestone, and I was really looking forward to celebrating with Frank and Riley. I planned a small dinner party at our place, just close friends and family. Frank was acting strange all day, kind of distant and fidgety. Riley was unusually quiet too. During dinner, Frank got a phone call and stepped outside to take it. He was gone for a long time. When he came back, he looked pale and said he had to leave. Something urgent came up at work. Just like that, he was gone on my birthday. Riley made some excuse about not feeling well and left shortly after. I was left alone with a half-eaten birthday cake and a sinking feeling in my stomach. The next day, I was cleaning up after the party and found Frank's phone in the bedroom. He must have left it behind in his hurry to leave the night before. I know, snooping is bad, but something just compelled me to look. I picked it up, and his notifications were flashing like crazy. Mostly work emails, but then I saw a text message from Riley. Just her name popped up on the screen, but my heart skipped a beat. I unlocked his phone, my hands shaking a little. I went to their text message thread, and there it was. Messages, pages and pages of them going back months. Sweet messages, flirty messages, and then explicit messages. My blood ran cold. They were having an affair. My husband, Frank, was having an affair with my sister, Riley, my sister. The betrayal hit me like a ton of bricks. I felt sick to my stomach, like I was going to throw up. Tears welled up in my eyes, blurring the screen. I kept scrolling, reading, trying to make sense of it all. They talked about meeting up in secret, about how much they missed each other, about how they couldn't wait to be together. They even talked about me. And it was not nice things. Riley called me boring, predictable, said Frank deserved better. Frank agreed, said I had changed, that I was not the fun girl he married. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. These were the two people I loved and trusted most in the world, and they were doing this to me. I spent the rest of the day in a daze, replaying everything in my head. All the late nights, the business trips, the distance, it all made sense now. They were not work-related, they were Riley-related. I felt like such a fool, so blind. How could I not have seen it? Were there signs I missed? Probably a million of them. I was just too trusting, too naive. I waited for Frank to come home that evening. I wanted to confront him, to scream at him, to make him explain. But when he walked through the door, looking tired and stressed, I just broke down. I started crying, sobbing uncontrollably. He looked surprised, then concerned. He asked me what was wrong, if something had happened. I just held up his phone, Riley's text messages still open on the screen. He went white as a ghost. He didn't say anything for a long moment, just stared at the phone in my hand. Then he finally spoke, his voice barely a whisper. "Evelyn, I can explain." "Explain what, Frank?" "Explain how you betrayed me. Explain how you slept with my sister. Explain how you lied to my face for months." I was yelling now, tears streaming down my face. He tried to touch me, but I recoiled. "Don't touch me," I screamed. "I don't want you to touch me." He backed away, his eyes filled with guilt and shame. "I know I messed up, Evelyn," he said. "I know I hurt you, but it just happened. It wasn't supposed to happen. Oh, it just happened, just like that. You just accidentally fell into bed with my sister. Please, Frank, don't insult my intelligence." He tried to defend himself, to make excuses, but I cut him off. "I don't want to hear it, Frank. I don't want to hear your lies anymore. I want you to leave." "Leave? Where am I supposed to go?" "Anywhere but here, Frank. Just go, please." He looked at me, his eyes pleading, but I was done. I was done with him, done with his lies, done with his betrayal. He finally nodded, picked up his keys and wallet and walked out the door. Just like that, 5 years of marriage gone. I called Riley the next day. I wanted to hear it from her, to see the look on her face when I confronted her. She answered the phone, her voice cheerful. "Hey Ev, what's up?" Like nothing had happened, like she hadn't just slept with my husband, like she hadn't destroyed my life. I took a deep breath and said, "Riley, we need to talk. About you and Frank." Silence on the other end of the line. Then she said, "Evelyn, I was going to tell you." "Tell me what, Riley?" "Tell me after you completely ruined my life. Tell me after you stabbed me in the back." "I know this looks bad, Evelyn," she said. "But it's not what you think." "Oh, really? Then tell me, Riley, what is it? What am I missing here?" She hesitated for a moment, then said, "Can we meet? I think it's better if we talk in person." "Fine," I said, "but make it quick. I don't want to spend another minute in your presence than I have to." We agreed to meet at a coffee shop near my house. I arrived at the coffee shop feeling numb. I didn't know what to expect from Riley. Part of me wanted to believe there was some explanation, some misunderstanding, but deep down I knew the truth. She was there when I arrived, sitting at a corner table looking pale and nervous. "Hey," she said softly when I sat down. "Hey," I replied, my voice cold. "So, Riley, enlighten me. Tell me why you slept with my husband." She looked down at her hands, fiddling with her coffee cup. "It just happened, Evelyn," she said, echoing Frank's pathetic excuse. "We were spending a lot of time together, with Frank helping me with my business. And we just connected. Connected? You connected by betraying me, by destroying my marriage, by sleeping with my husband." "I know it was wrong, Evelyn," she said, her voice trembling. "I know I messed up, but I can't help how I feel." "Oh, you can't help how you feel? Is that your excuse? You just couldn't control yourself?" I was being sarcastic now, my anger bubbling to the surface. "It's not like that, Evelyn," she insisted. "Frank and I, we have real feelings for each other." "Real feelings? You mean lust, Riley. You mean betrayal. You mean you are a terrible sister and a terrible person." I stood up, my voice rising. "I can't believe you, Riley. I can't believe you would do this to me." I turned to leave, tears welling up in my eyes again. "Evelyn, wait," she called out. "There is something else." I stopped and turned back to her, my heart pounding. What else could there possibly be? Something else that could make this whole mess even worse. Riley took a deep breath and looked me straight in the eyes. "Evelyn, Frank is not your father." The words hung in the air, heavy and suffocating. "Frank is not my father." "What? What are you talking about, Riley?" I stared at her, my mind racing, trying to make sense of what she just said. "It's true, Evelyn," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Mom and Dad are not your biological parents. They adopted you when you were a baby." "Adopted? I'm adopted." I felt like the ground was shifting beneath my feet. Everything I thought I knew about my life, my family, was suddenly a lie. "But what does this have to do with Frank?" I asked, my voice trembling. Riley hesitated for a moment, then continued. "Frank is your half-brother, Evelyn, your biological half-brother, half-brother. Frank, my husband, is my half-brother." I felt like I was going to faint. This couldn't be real. This had to be some kind of sick joke. But Riley's face was serious, her eyes filled with a strange mix of guilt and pity. "Mom and Dad were going to tell you, Evelyn," she said. "They were waiting for the right time. But then this happened with Frank and me, and everything just exploded." "But how? How is this possible?" I asked, my voice shaking. Riley explained that years ago, before Mom and Dad got married, Mom had a brief relationship with a man. She got pregnant, but they broke up. She didn't tell him about the pregnancy. She gave birth to a baby boy, Frank. She gave him up for adoption because she didn't think she could raise him on her own. Then she met Dad, they fell in love, got married, and later decided to adopt a child. They went through an adoption agency and were matched with me. They never knew that Frank was out there, their own son, and Frank never knew about them either, until recently. Riley told me that Frank had hired a private investigator a few months ago to find his biological parents. He had always felt like something was missing in his life, a void he couldn't explain. The investigator found Mom and Dad. Frank contacted them and they met. It was a shock for everyone. Mom and Dad were overjoyed to find their son, but also terrified of how I would react. They decided to keep it a secret from me for now, to protect me, they said. And Frank, well, Frank was just confused and overwhelmed. And then he and Riley started spending time together, and things just spiraled out of control. Riley said they were both drawn to each other, a forbidden attraction, a twisted kind of comfort in their shared secret and family connection, even though they didn't realize the full extent of it at first. It was wrong, so wrong, but they couldn't stop themselves. Until they did stop themselves, when I found out about the affair and Riley confessed the even bigger secret. I sat there in stunned silence, trying to process everything Riley had just told me. My husband is my half-brother. My parents are not my biological parents. My sister slept with my half-brother husband. My life had turned into some kind of bizarre soap opera. I felt betrayed on so many levels. Betrayed by Frank, by Riley, by Mom and Dad for keeping this huge secret from me. I stood up abruptly, knocking over my coffee cup. "I need to go," I said to Riley, my voice flat. "Evelyn, I am so sorry," she said, tears streaming down her face. "Sorry is not enough, Riley," I said, and walked out of the coffee shop, leaving her sitting there alone. I went home and packed my bags. I couldn't stay in that house anymore, the house I shared with Frank, the house filled with lies and betrayal. I called a friend, Lisa, and asked if I could stay with her for a while. She was shocked to hear what had happened, but she immediately said yes. Lisa has always been my rock, my best friend since kindergarten. She is the kind of friend who will drop everything to be there for you, no questions asked. I packed a suitcase, grabbed my cat, Whiskers, and drove to Lisa's apartment. She welcomed me with open arms, a warm hug, and a bottle of wine. We stayed up all night talking. I told her everything about Frank, about Riley, about the adoption, about Frank being my half-brother. Lisa listened patiently, offering words of comfort and support. She was as shocked as I was, but she was also furious on my behalf. "Those two are going to pay for this, Evelyn," she said, her eyes flashing with anger. "They are going to regret ever hurting you." The next day I called Mom and Dad. I needed to hear it from them, to confront them, to understand why they kept this secret from me for so long. Dad answered the phone, his voice hesitant. "Evelyn, honey, how are you?" "I'm not your honey, Dad," I said, my voice cold. "And how dare you ask me how I am? You lied to me my entire life." "What are you talking about, Evelyn?" he asked, pretending not to know. "Don't play dumb with me, Dad. I know everything. I know I am adopted. I know Frank is your son." Silence on the other end of the line. Then Mom spoke, her voice trembling. "Evelyn, please let us explain." "Explain what?" "Explain how you stole my life from me. Explain how you hid the truth from me for 30 years. We did it to protect you, Evelyn," Mom said. "We didn't want to hurt you, protect me. By lying to me, by making me believe I was part of a family that was built on lies. We love you, Evelyn," Dad said. "You are our daughter. Love me. If you loved me, you would have told me the truth. You would have trusted me enough to handle it, but you didn't. You treated me like a child, like I was too fragile to know the truth about my own life." "Evelyn, please," Mom begged. "Come home. Let's talk about this." "There is nothing to talk about, Mom. I am done." I hung up the phone, tears streaming down my face. I felt like I had lost everything. My husband, my sister, my parents, my entire family, all gone, all broken. But then something shifted inside me. Amidst the pain and betrayal, a spark of anger ignited. They thought they could lie to me, betray me, and get away with it. They thought I would just crumble and disappear. They were wrong. I am Evelyn, and I am not going down without a fight. I decided to get revenge. Not in a violent, destructive way, but in a way that would make them realize the magnitude of what they had done, in a way that would expose their lies and secrets to the world. I started by contacting a lawyer. I wanted to file for divorce from Frank, and I wanted to make sure I got everything I deserved. Lisa recommended a divorce attorney she knew, a tough, no-nonsense woman named Miss Johnson. I met with Miss Johnson and told her my story. She was appalled. "This is outrageous, Evelyn," she said. "We are going to make them pay for what they did to you." She advised me to file for divorce immediately and to seek full financial compensation for the emotional distress and betrayal I had suffered. She also suggested that I get a restraining order against Frank and Riley to ensure they stayed away from me. I agreed to everything. I wanted to cut them out of my life completely. Next, I decided to expose their secret to everyone. Mom and Dad were prominent members of our community. They were respected, admired, and they valued their reputation above everything else. I knew that revealing their secret would shatter their perfect image and cause them immense shame and embarrassment. I created a blog, anonymously at first, and started writing about my story. I changed names and details slightly to protect my identity initially, but the core of the story was true. I wrote about the affair, about the adoption, about Frank being my half-brother, about the lies and betrayals. I poured my heart out, sharing my pain, my anger, and my determination to get justice. I titled my blog My Twisted Family Secret. I started posting excerpts on social media, on Reddit, on Facebook, on Twitter, using anonymous accounts. The response was overwhelming. People were shocked, outraged, and completely hooked on my story. My posts went viral. Suddenly, everyone was talking about my twisted family secret. People were sharing my story, commenting, offering support, and demanding justice for me. The blog gained thousands of followers overnight. Then I decided to take it a step further. I contacted a local newspaper, a journalist known for her investigative reporting. I told her my story, providing her with all the details and evidence. She was intrigued and agreed to investigate further. She interviewed me, Lisa, and even contacted Frank and Riley for comment, though they refused to speak to her. She also dug into public records and confirmed the adoption and Frank's birth records. The newspaper ran my story on the front page, under the headline "Local Woman Discovers Shocking Family Secret." Husband is half-brother, sister is lover, parents hid adoption. The story went viral again, this time on a much larger scale. It was picked up by national news outlets, television stations, and radio programs. Suddenly, my story was everywhere. Mom and Dad's perfect world came crashing down around them. Their friends, neighbors, and colleagues were all talking about them, whispering behind their backs, judging them. Their reputation was ruined. They tried to deny the story, to dismiss it as lies and rumors, but the evidence was overwhelming. The newspaper had done its homework, and the truth was out. Frank and Riley were also facing the consequences of their actions. Frank's law firm put him on administrative leave pending an internal investigation. His career was in jeopardy. Riley's business started to suffer as customers and clients learned about her personal life and unethical behavior. They were both ostracized by their social circles, condemned by the public, and facing legal and professional repercussions. They tried to reach out to me, to apologize, to beg for forgiveness, but I refused to speak to them. I had nothing to say to them. I had moved on. I was focusing on myself, on healing, on rebuilding my life. My divorce was finalized quickly and in my favor. The judge awarded me a significant financial settlement, holding Frank accountable for his betrayal and emotional abuse. I used the money to buy a small house in a different city, far away from my old life, far away from Frank, Riley, and my parents. I started a new job, made new friends, and began to create a new life for myself. It wasn't easy, but it was liberating. I felt like I had finally broken free from the toxic web of lies and betrayal that had entangled me for so long. One day, a few months later, I received a letter in the mail. It was from Mom. I almost threw it away, but something made me open it. Inside, there was a handwritten letter and a photograph. The letter was short and simple. "Evelyn, I am so sorry for everything. We made terrible mistakes. We love you and we miss you, Mom." The photograph was of me as a baby, being held by Mom and Dad, both of them looking young and happy. I looked at the photo for a long time, tears welling up in my eyes. It was a reminder of a time when things were different, when I believed in my family, when I thought I was loved. I didn't know if I could ever forgive Mom and Dad for what they had done, but I realized that holding onto anger and resentment was only hurting me. I decided to let go of the hate, to move on, to focus on my own future. I didn't reply to Mom's letter, but I kept the photograph. It was a part of my story, a reminder of where I came from, and a symbol of how far I had come. My revenge wasn't about destroying them, it was about saving myself. And in the end, that was the most satisfying revenge of all. Update 1. While read it, I am blown away by the response to my story. I never expected it to get so much attention. Thank you all for your incredible support, your kind words, and your outrage on my behalf. It means more than you know. I have been reading your comments, and I am so grateful for your validation and advice. Many of you asked for an update, so here it is. First, to answer some common questions. Yes, Frank and Riley are still together as far as I know. Apparently, their twisted bond is stronger than ever, fueled by their shared scandal and ostracization. Good for them, I guess. They deserve each other. No, I have not spoken to them since our last confrontation, and I have no intention of doing so. They are dead to me. Yes, I am in therapy. This whole experience has been incredibly traumatic, and I am working through it with a therapist. It's helping a lot. Yes, Whiskers is doing great. He loves our new house and is enjoying all the sunshine and catnip. He is my furry little therapist. Now for the update on what has happened since my last post. My blog and the newspaper article have had a massive impact. Mom and Dad have completely retreated from public life. They have resigned from their community positions and are rarely seen outside their house. Their social circle has shrunk dramatically, and they are facing social pariah status. I heard through the grapevine that Dad is having health issues, likely stress-related. Mom is reportedly devastated and depressed. I don't feel sorry for them, they reaped what they sowed. Frank was fired from his law firm. He is now facing professional disgrace and struggling to find new employment. His legal career is likely over. Riley's business has taken a huge hit. She has lost clients and customers, and her reputation is tarnished. She is facing financial difficulties and may have to close down her business. Again, no sympathy from me. As for me, I am doing much better. My new life is slowly taking shape. I love my new house, my new job is challenging and rewarding, and I am making new friends. I am focusing on self-care, on healing, and on building a future for myself that is free from lies and betrayal. I am dating again cautiously, and I am open to finding love again someday when I am ready. I am still processing everything that happened, but I am moving forward, stronger and wiser. I have learned a lot about myself, about family, and about the importance of truth and honesty. I am grateful for the support of my friends, especially Lisa, who has been my rock throughout this whole ordeal. And I am grateful for all of you, Reddit, for being there for me, for listening to my story, and for reminding me that I am not alone. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart. You are all amazing. I'm not sure if there will be further updates, but I will keep you posted if anything significant happens. For now, I am focusing on my own healing and happiness. Thank you, Reddit. Help me out here, Reddit, just kidding. I think I handled this pretty well, don't you? But seriously, thank you for everything. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.